Hello, I'm going to show the post-processing process in Photoshop. I got this image after following the steps. It's not a very complex process, but let's do this with this image. Okay, first of all, this is almost black and white, maybe this part and some details of the helmet. So it's in Spanish, but I will translate if it's necessary. Let's desaturate the scene first. Okay, so we turn this into black and white. And at this point, what could improve a lot our scene would be creating more contrast between these lights and the rest of the scene. In the video you sent me, there's like a moment in which he leave some part with colors and the rest of the scene it becomes black and white. But since here almost everything is black and white except this part, and this part is not something important for the render, I think it makes no sense. So we can just turn everything black and white, and then we can increase the contrast. If we increase the contrast, maybe the scene can become a bit more darker. So we could go for a 50 value, something general, and increase a bit the brightness. Something like this. These lights are um, stronger, and the rest of the scene become a bit darker. This would be the previous image, and with the change, so this improves the black and white style look, I think, since it gives a more interesting look. And after that, another thing we can do is um, changing the exposure. If we increase the exposure, we can almost destroy this detail, so we need to go for a lower value. So we start here, so maybe something like zero point 0.3. Yeah. At this point, if we keep increasing the exposure, we may lose some of the details we want to keep. So we could go for 0.22. Yeah, yeah, I think 0.22 is good. We could also change the displacement, but this make us lose a lot of details, so I think it's not a good idea. And the gamma is similar to the brightness, so we can leave this as default. And at this point, we can decide, okay, is this our final image? Or maybe we can add some more contrast or brightness. We can go back to the contrast and try again. Since now the background is a bit lighter than I like to keep it, in my opinion, so we can increase a bit again the contrast and the brightness, as you prefer. If I think the best idea here is to keep a value that doesn't make you misunderstand the general shapes. I mean, if we reduce the brightness a lot, we still see all the lines that gives you the idea of the shapes in this scene. But maybe if we start reducing a lot, if it's difficult to separate the shapes from the background, that can become a problem, and that's not a good idea. So maybe just reducing it in a subtle way, something like this could be. Yeah, here we can maybe lose some of the information here. So this is something you have to take a look, since this is like a rubber cable. We could maybe increase the brightness a bit so you can see this cable. And since this is symmetrized, you know what's here. And since it's pure black, you have enough information to understand the scene. So this would be it. I think I would go with these settings for this image, and between images, and the change on values can be, a bit more contrast or a bit more exposure, a bit less brightness. It depends on the scene, but overall, this will be the idea.